Yes, hi. I am the Central Florida Director of a nonprofit organization named the Jim Moran Institute for Global Entrepreneurship, although we don't really focus on the global component. We are actually part of Florida State University, but we provide this program all across the state of Florida. Who we serve are small business owners that are 3 or more years in existence and have 3 or more employees. That is a critical point where a lot of small business owners really cannot get themselves off that hamster wheel. So what we do, as the cliche says, we bring them back in the classroom so they can work on their business and no longer have to work in their business.
Thank you, Shane. And last but not least, Rosie Lee.
I'm Rosie Lee. I'm co-founder of Action Zone. We are an entrepreneur support organization for veterans and military spouses. We've been around since 2018. We do the piece that gets them to the JMI program. We get early ideation, they don't know what they're doing, but they know they never want to work for anyone else ever again. And so we have various stages so that they can qualify for places that have a revenue or a job start requirement. All of that could take several years, but we're here for the long haul.
Thank you. And thank you all three for being here. So how today's going to work is I'm going to be asking the panel some questions. There will be time for Q&A from the audience after we're done. So I guess we'll go ahead and get started. First question, this is for anybody. What is the biggest misconception people have about joining an entrepreneurship cohort?
I think the biggest misconception, regardless of how long that cohort program is going to last, is that you are going to be ready to rock and roll at the very end of it. There's a lot of unrealistic expectations that you can take a 2-week program and hang your shingle out and start preparing for $1 million a year. That's all great if that happens, and sometimes it does, but I think you have to go into a program expecting that you're going to put the sweat equity in and that good things will happen as a result of that.
I guess I could take what she was saying and give a little twist as well. I would say the biggest misconception is the thought of those that say they don't need it because they're doing fine or they don't have the time to do it. But it is these cohorts, the structure, not only the leadership of those producing it, but also the camaraderie and from the cohort itself that can, to borrow from some other leaders out there, 10x your efforts that what you would do on your own. So
Good point.
Yeah, and all of that is, I echo all of that. I think one of the interesting things about doing this kind of a program is that a lot of people, like I said, may not realize that they might even want to do it because they're already doing a business, they're already running a side hustle, but then they realize they're getting too far. Most of our people who come through our program through word of mouth, mostly. So somebody's gone through, it's like, oh, I didn't know I needed this, right? One of the folks that was in our program, it was oversimplification. She was like, I just realized I need more than a logo to run my business, right? And that's important. And I think the important part, we keep talking about cohort, and I actually have people who come through our program. I don't use the word a lot in our program because they're like, what's a cohort? What does that mean? And one of the best definitions I found for cohort is companion, right? And so you're on this business journey, this early stage business journey with companions who are also on it. And ours is for very early stage entrepreneurs, people who might have been running a side hustle that haven't incorporated, and they're just doing something on the side, and then they decide, oh, I really need to do this, and they don't know where to start, right? There's really big entrepreneurship programs, there's lots of training, there's things that colleges, universities, but a small, intimate kind of let's learn how to do this together program can be very powerful, and people may not notice that that exists. So.
And before I delve too deep into I want to ask you guys, what inspired you to start or get involved with an entrepreneurship cohort, and we'll start with this.
Okay, I actually, it was something we've been wanting to do. At the time, we were actually working with Josh Ray, who was over at SUT now, and it was something he was interested. We were interested. So we kind of teamed up, and we did a version of it for a couple years, and we saw how powerful that was. And then he went on to other things, but the need for the program continues, and we pivoted like any kind of a program, right, whether it's a business or not, you still pivot, even with a program. And as we went through it, we learned a lot about it. And what we found was, especially in the area we're serving, we're at the university area, uptown area. And we actually launched during COVID. We were planning on it, it's like, oh, 2020, let's launch an entrepreneurship program. But there was nothing else going on either, and people were trying to make money on the side with things, people were trying to do things, so, helping people understand how to do that better, and figuring out, it was actually a really good time to experiment with that kind of a program, and we found it to be, there's just like, we have rolling enrollment, and there's always ways that people are trying to get into it, which is nice. But I think it was just, it goes with everything else we do, helping people create for a living, right? When you're creating, building things, you're empowered when you create things, you can build things, you're business, you can pay yourself, right? You work for yourself. So it's that, it was just another component of what we do.
For me, for the most recent 20 years, I've been in academia, but prior to that, I had grown up in entrepreneurship, small business ownership. I had worked in it, helped grow our family business, and then I became an academic. And as an academic, I was teaching a lot of 20, 21-year-olds theory on how they can maybe use some business knowledge a few years down the road, not knowing if they ever would. When I heard of the Jim Moran Institute and that they were looking to start this program in this area, it was very clear to me that that is what I wanted to do, because as a small business owner and a person that's been involved in that community for so long, I saw the need for growth at a later stage, not just to focus on the startup, but someone needed to be there to support the existing business owner for their success still. So it was a no-brainer, and then I could take actionable steps to those businesses that very day and know I did something good for them.
That's a great feeling too.
That it sure is.
So I am a shameless serial entrepreneur many, many years, but I never thought that anything that I knew or any of my experiences would have any benefit to anybody else. A lot of serendipitous, coincidental activities happened that I landed as a program manager for a veteran entrepreneurship program at HCC. And the first task I had to do was to call 40 of the 120 people that applied to tell them they had been accepted to the program. Broke my heart for the other 80, but I started with the 40, excited to share what I already knew. All of the times that as I was an entrepreneur that I could have used help and resources but had no place to turn. But when I got on the phone to make those calls to those veterans and military spouses, these people who were braver than I have ever been and had experienced more of life than I could ever imagine, the good and the bad, were so thankful to be a part of this program and to be accepted into it. Aside from crying after every phone call, I knew that day, that very first day, that whatever else I did with my life, that it was going to be helping entrepreneurs, and specifically veterans and military spouses, find a way to be financially successful after service. I also relayed that to senior women, because that's my tribe, and domestic abuse survivors, because that's also my tribe. And so I get the best of taking my lessons, my hard knocks, the bruises and the really funny stories that happen when you don't know what the heck you're doing, and I get to help other people do that, and for that I'm eternally grateful that I get every day that I get to do this.
And I will say, I remember when Terry first came to us and it was the first time I've ever heard of the Cohort either, and I was like, oh cool, that's good. It sounds like a cool thing to do if you're an entrepreneur, and just that sense of community, sense of you wanting to be there to along the way, to at least get their first steps going is so invigorating and great to see. So entrepreneurs are very busy individuals, as we know, we wear many hats, work-life balance. How do you approach somebody, or how do you talk to somebody who is interested but they're not sure if they can handle that extra task, that extra homework? What would you say to that?
I think that's why these programs are good, right? Because what we tell people is, we started trying to do the program for free. We were having a conversation about that. which didn't necessarily work because people didn't really take it seriously, especially because we were offering money at the end of it. So we've been funded by Truist since Truist Foundation since the beginning of the program, 2020. This year we also have support from the Florida Business Development Corporation. And so, you know, it's a funded program, and we thought we didn't want to impact the people in the program by, you know, having to charge, but then we found out people don't invest in something, they're not that invested in it, right? And so over time, we sort of worked out a platform for the program, and it's not cheap. It's $500 to be part of the program, but you get your $500 back after you completed the program, plus a $1,000 seed fund. And that sort of investment of time, it's a safe investment, right? So you're gonna try at least give 80%, so you get at least 80% of your tuition back. But setting that goal and this within this framework of 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks to complete this program, that'll tell you whether you have the bandwidth to run a business, right? That's a safe way to do this. So if you can't find the time, and I've had people tell me, I don't have time to get through this program, then you do not have time to run a business, right? And be honest with yourself about that, because we're trying to save people at the front end from investing in things they can't afford or getting dragged into loans and things like that they can't manage because they can't time manage, or they just really can't leave their full-time job to work for themselves yet. They're not there. And so going through this program helps them understand that, right? If you have a family, we provide childcare, we provide loans, we provide childcare for it. And we provide laptop loans for people going through the program, and if you complete the program, you receive a laptop at the end. So we put all these things in place, and with all those things in place, if you can't get through our program, you will not be able to run a business. That's not a shameful thing. That's not bad. It's good to know that now before, you know, it's like there's no bad outcomes here. You either get through the program and you go, wow, I can run my business, or you get through the program and go, wow, I don't want to run a business. I'm not there yet. Either of those outcomes are okay. And everybody's invited to graduation at the end. So really, that's how we approach it.
So in the Bay Area alone, there are tens of thousands of businesses. So the supply of people that we can help are, you know, it's a large supply. It's a matter of how many we can reach and help and serve. And so when people ask, how is the latest cohort at JMI? I always can say it was a wonderful group. Why? Because we know that those that respond to our messaging about what we do and how we can serve them are the ones that are lifelong learners, are there to, they still have the desire to succeed in their business, even though they are in operation for many years. They might need a little reminder why to get that spark back, but these people want to be there. And they know that it is a time commitment. The JMI program is 8 classes over 4 months, 4 hours each of those. And so they know it's a time commitment. So with the plethora of small businesses out there already, and me trying to get in front of them and you spreading the word about them, if they apply and are accepted into our program, we know they're good people for this program. Once in a while, we do get someone that thinks it's a networking opportunity, and after class 1, they drop out. They quickly realize that this is more than a chamber event. And those that stick with it are just, they become the most amazing friends, because in the cohort format, they learn that they are not alone in business. And they realize, yes, Terry has been through, Rose's partner, Valerie's been through, as well as her husband. It's, we know that they're gonna be there. It's, the hard thing is explaining to them, we have a program that doesn't cost anything other than the time. They expect to give the credit card number pretty soon, but we don't do that, so.
I think one thing people need to know from me, and I say this every class that I hold, is slow is a speed, not an accusation. You are not judging your progress on your business against anyone else. You are building something that is palatable and sustainable for you. And what you take from our program will help you whenever you get to that next level. But at least we've equipped you with the tools and the resources that you need as you get down further into developing your business And that's true of all of these, because you don't leave with just a shiny business model or a certificate. You leave with knowledge you didn't have before, and the understanding of other resources in the community that you can access. So it's not that you're struggling for that one day, and our classes are 4 hours a week on Saturdays, so that's a big time commitment to give up your Saturday mornings. But you will, even if you don't launch your business at the end of that period of time, and we don't expect you to, you're gaining something that will never leave you, and you will always be able to come back.
So, you're in, you have your participants that you want. How are you structuring your goals to maximize learning in the work? And, what would you do?
Go ahead.
Okay, I'll go first.
You never got to go first, so.
Yeah. So, I just mentioned that our program is 8 classes spread out every other Tuesday morning for 4 hours. But while I could stand up there in front of that class as a university professor with a PhD and bore them for all those hours, we bring in existing entrepreneur experts, as both of these other programs do as well. And by having those real life entrepreneurs come in to teach their subject matter with a level of expertise that these participants are looking to gain from, that brings a fresh perspective and a relatable perspective, because the person up in front of them, unlike those that had gone through university, had a excuse me for those of us that are like me, I heard this shared by one thing, stale, pale, and male. Standing up in front of the classroom talking about theory. Here in front of them, they have someone that is like them, but maybe 5 years in front of them, saying, I could do what they're doing. I'm going to do what they're doing, and I'm open ears for whatever they have to say.
Yeah, we were, when I went through your program, that inspired us to change up hours a little bit more, and that's because I think I went through like when we first started, and we went more to a mentor model, where we introduced a concept. Ours is really, really basic. Ours is super early stage entrepreneurship education. We're not, we do have expectations when people go through there. We do ask them to incorporate, because we have to make out the seed fund check to a business, not an individual. We learned that one really quick. And so ours is very, very fundamental. You learn how to do a business model canvas. This is your basic outline for business. You do basic market research. You do a sample budget. You use a couple other things you incorporate. And you have to do a 1 million cups presentation as your capstone project, which forces you to come out here to meet everyone and find out that it's not as scary as you thought, right? Everybody's terrified about this presentation portion. So we have past participants now. We have enough people who have come through our program over the last 5 years. We can bring them back. You want to do this, trust us. And so it is very, very fundamental, simple structure for what we do. We're not promising MBAs out of this. That's not the idea. The idea is, if you've been running a business or you want to improve your business, here are some basic good business practices to do. But we introduce the concept, and then we have a mentor come in. Shane has been a mentor in the past as well, who waxes eloquent on that business model canvas. He wasn't able to help out, which I wouldn't listen, because I don't do it as good. So, we have people come in, Tony Salagio comes in and talks about social enterprise, how to add another component to differentiate your business from others and give a social impact. Truist comes in and does a whole thing on personal health and wellness, right? Or personal financial health and wellness. And so they get to listen to other people, and we have our alumni come back and speak, right? After they've been through the program, a year later, Aura comes back, Martika comes back. And so it sort of builds this community of practice. Now that we've been here for 5 years, our goal was to have a community of practice where people could reach out to each other after they go through the program as well. So,
Well, like these two, our program is very technical and not theoretical. You leave with items that will help you launch, operate, and grow your business. I think what keeps, and I think the problem with being third is I forgot the question.
yeah, it was fading for me by the time.
But I think the question was, how do you keep them engaged in a cohort model? When you're working on something that's really important to you and very exciting for you, when these new ideas that you didn't even know existed, you didn't know what you didn't know, and all of a sudden there's a light bulb that goes on, and you're like, I know now what path I need to take, what I need to do to get to this next level. That's self-fulfilling, and there's nothing that anybody else can do to quench that, but we can help fuel that fire by giving you those tools, and I think that's the difference in programs like ours and maybe trying to get a college degree in entrepreneurship.
Or
is that-
scaling to
Right.
a incubator kind of thing.
Right, yeah, you are working, everyone in my cohort, and it doesn't matter if there's 15 or 30 in there. Every single one of them is working on their own business, and they all have some interesting information to share with each other. The guy that's opening a food truck and the woman that's doing mental health counseling, and the gentleman that accidentally bought a Hummer and is creating, that's a great story, accidentally bought a Hummer and is creating a business doing accessories for those, recreational accessories for those. They all are very different, but they all have very common instances in the building of their business that they can share with each other and how they overcame certain challenges. So I think that's what keeps them, that's the glory of the cohort model. And organizations like ours that keep them very tactical so that they can work on their business and they feel success every single day.
So you've all mentioned kind of what we've been talking about is a little bit, finding mentors, finding your tribe. How important is it to build community with your cohorts, and how do you guys foster a sense of community among your respective cohorts?
Well, on the first day, I tell people I'm an entrepreneur and I understand some days are gonna be really damn hard, right? And you're gonna send me an email and you're gonna say, I can't do this, I have too many things on my plate, this is too hard, I don't have the money, I don't have the time, so just please take me off your email list and stop contacting me, I'm not coming back. And I just email them back and I tell them, I completely understand because I have been there. And right across the street from my office is the sheriff's department, and if you wanna go get a restraining order to ensure that I stop talking to you, I'm happy to honor that. But I know that you're going to turn a corner at some point in the future, and I'm still gonna be here. So wherever you're at in that journey, you take the time you need, but I'm not going anywhere. And that usually keeps them coming back. We had a holiday party in December, and we had one representative from every cohort dating back to 2018 that showed up. We keep our family close.
Yeah.
We joke that maybe sometimes they're distant cousins and they only show up for a family reunion, like a Christmas party with an open bar.
Yeah.
But it's a community, and all of us have built communities around the people that come to us.
Yeah, I think it goes back to what I was saying about that community of practice, right? That's just a bigger cohort of all the little cohorts, right? Some people will stay involved so long, but the ones that do keep coming back over and over again. And I think that I tend to like the small group communities. So our sessions typically 6 to 12 people, which I think is a really nice size for what we're doing because it really enables a lot of conversation. It's not too big. It's not, there's no anonymity. Everybody gets to know everybody. They end up giving each other rides to the and we do the same thing. We'll host periodic potlucks. We always invite the entrepreneurs to whatever we're doing, current and past. We're going to Maker Festival in May. Everybody's invited to our the entrepreneur showcase that we have there. So we always keep doing that. And when we come across opportunities for people who have come through the program 2 years ago, I know who could use this. I'll forward it, right? We'll do that, and they do it back and forth to each other as well. So that really helps.
Yeah. This is my favorite part because, the truth is, with today's technology, the information is already out there and at no cost. We can, whether we're starting or advancing a business, we can go to YouTube and learn, right? What people are looking for is that human connection. And I developed a thought for myself. I realized at one stage of my life, I don't do well when people dangle the carrot in front of me, because that's often empty promises. I don't do well when they swap me with the stick behind me, because I'm anti, I fight back and bite instead of advancing forward. So instead, I always do best when someone's there to walk with me. Not walk in front of me, not walk behind me, but walk with me. And when you put 6 to 12, in our case up to 25 people in the same room that are very similar with one another, even though outward appearances they don't see that right away, they feel that sense of community. And that is what, especially after the past 6 years, this world has seen. That sense of community is what is the selling point of a cohort. Even simply here at the ECC, showing up unofficially Wednesday mornings for 1 million cups is providing a sense of community through an unorganized cohort. You start seeing the same faces. You look forward to seeing those same faces even in the audience, let alone the people up front on a regular basis. That's what we're all striving for, and that's how we grow best, in my opinion.
So before we go to Q&A, I just want to ask you one more question. How do you see entrepreneurship evolving in the next 5 to 10 years? And have you already started planning how to build your cohort around that?
Our cohort is, not, a lot of the entrepreneurship programs in there, I think they're is different, but our, there's a lot of technical stuff. Ours is not. Ours is built around supporting the fundamental businesses that are in the local community. So people who come through our program, there'll be some tech programs, some tech businesses, but they're hair salons, they're nail people, they're childcare, they're healthcare, like home healthcare, kind of things like that. There will always be a need for those. It doesn't matter how much anything changes, you still need a good auto mechanic, you still need a good, somebody who can take care of, your home plumbing services, home watching services, all sorts of things. One of the most fascinating groups to ever come through, to me, was actually one of our first cohorts, was a couple who had been watching houses for people to fly home. And they were just doing it for friends. He was a retired security guard, she was a school teacher, and they've been doing this for years, but now their friends started referring them to strangers, and then they got worried, and she was like, their older couple's like, what if somebody's house burns down? We don't know, what are we gonna do? And so they heard about our program, they actually came through with like cousins, so it's like a whole family that showed up in our first groups. And they now have a really so they were bonded, licensed and insured, they now have a home watching service, and they're contracted with homeowners associations, right? Everybody needs something like that. That's not gonna change, so I don't really see that in the case of what we do at this very ground level, community-focused, community-facing businesses, it'll affect us that much. I think people will need us more, actually, because there's not, they're not gonna be going into other programs where they're looking for tech accelerators or tech businesses or things like that. Having a place to support ground level businesses that do the everyday things we all need, food, clothing, healthcare, childcare, that's not gonna go away.
I'm so glad you mentioned that,
Yeah.
because people don't realize that. They
Yeah.
see some of the bigger organizations that do tech or health or those kind of things. We're industry agnostic as well. We call them Main Street businesses. Because those are the businesses that support not just the community members, but all of the businesses in the community. Commercial cleaning companies that clean the office buildings, and mechanics that take care of machinery for some of the industrial things that go on. Those are, again, they're not going away. They can create a robot to build a car, but the things that the Main Street businesses do are completely irreplaceable by technology. And you can capitalize on that and leverage that. That's right, future-proof. Thank you, that's a great word. I'm glad you thought of that. I'm gonna write that down. I don't think I think of that. I think that's really important. For us, how we evolve for the next 5 or 10 years is really based on accessibility. We need to make sure, we've proven that what we do at Action Zone for military veterans is valuable and important and successful. Now we need to find out how we can help even more of them. And I think we all feel this way. Accessibility, making it accessible to more people is really our next step, because we've shown that we can help those in this community here. Now we just need to see how we can do it to make it accessible for more.
Absolutely. And even though I come from teaching to a traditional university classroom, and I'm currently employed by one of the larger state institutions, they give me the freedom to be an entrepreneur myself. And as I explained earlier, the people that we have teaching the classes are living on Main Street themselves, running their business from Main Street. And so by doing that organically, those presenters those subject matter experts are bringing the latest and newest thoughts from their business to the businesses that are in that room. I often get asked, in fact, I was just asked this week by the team from Kansas City, from Kaufman Foundation, and they asked me, what curriculum do you run on? And I get that a lot, and I have to say, there is no set curriculum. We bring in the people that know what's going on, and we let them teach what's going on. And that's, to us, how we stay organic and up to speed.
And if I could tag onto that a little bit too, all of these are Main Street businesses, that you call them like that better, it's easier to say than mine. And, you know, although they still need to have, they still need to be updated on technology, right? They need technical assistance in order for people to find out about their business. So we do cover that aspect, and we partner with other organizations to help them do that. So I think that would be like the one thing that we add on as we move through, is how to help them have the things they need, you know, online, and things like that, so that people can find them. But that, to that degree, that's about the only thing.
Yeah, not every business is a tech business,
Right,
but everybody
yeah.
needs tech.
Yeah, at least awareness of
Businesses, yes,
awareness of what's out, what they might be helpful. So.
Well, thank you, Rosie, Shane, Terry, thank you so much. Give a round of applause for the panel. So moving on to audience Q&A, I'd like to give a big shout out to our sponsor, Suncoast. Chris, if you would come up and provide this great breakfast this morning.
Is that bananas?
Those bananas are good.
Yeah, Farmer's Almanac, don't
Yeah,
forget
that's true, the
Farmer's
farmer's out there.
If you haven't had the breakfast, please do. I can't eat it all afterwards, so trying to watch my weight. My name is Chris Bellido. I'm with Santos Credit Union with the Micro Enterprise Development Program, where we focus on small business loans. We should have been here last, when was it, Wednesday? I had how many? Today I'm not so prepared. What we do at Sanco is the Micro Enterprise Development Program. We provide small business loans, especially focused on those startups. So if you have a business that's been operational for up to 35 months, so it could be something that you opened yesterday, and today you're planning to go to one of their cohorts, please do, because that's the recipe for success. You are already qualified for lending through Sancos. That's what I focus on, especially minority-owned or underserved communities. Women, minority, underserved communities is what I focus on, but we lend to everybody. So you don't have to be one of them. It's just that what I'm out there doing is looking for them to be able to serve better and provide financing, whether that be a line of credit, vehicle loans, equipment, whatever your business needs to get to the next level. We're here to serve. My information is up front on the counter, so please come get my business card, contact me. Please invite your friends to these every month now, right? Every other month. Please invite them because we want to keep sponsoring this. We want to be part of it and keep helping businesses. And that's all I have. Thank you so much. Come back to the jobs next month. Thank you.
Thank you. All right.
At this time, I would like to let SBA speak momentarily about the program. SBA.
I'm Robert with the Small Business Administration. If you've been impacted by a disaster, whether that be a hurricane, fire, or flood, the Small Business Administration Disaster Relief Program is here to help. We offer low interest loans to assist businesses, homeowners, and renters in recovering from property damage, repair costs, and financial losses. These funds can help rebuild, replace assessments, and keep businesses running. The process is simple, and the SBA specialists are ready to guide. If you are someone you know needs assistance, visit the SBA Disaster Assistance website to apply at lending.sba.gov, or go to a simple center to speak with an SBA representative. Help us here, don't wait. Thank you.
All right, at this time, we'll open it to audience comment. If you have a question, raise your hand.
business gets started in any way, gets off the ground, they're gonna need accounting, bookkeeping, tax filings. They may need legal documents, trademarks, whatever. Do your programs teach them how to do this? Provide them, I guess what I'd call low-cost referrals, you know?
We provide free referrals,
Well, I mean,
I know.
referrals that will
Right,
provide
right.
services
So,
for a low
we
cost.
actually connected with all those different resources if they need them. Like one of our mentors is actually turned on board, is Vanessa Ferguson, or something you know. And she is an IP and privacy attorney, but she helps people. She will meet with them free when she does Embark. She has some time at Embark. She will also work with our mentors, and, to help them out and stuff like that. But we do have recommendations for those different things for each of the members as they come through it. That's not what we do necessarily, but we do supply them after each session, they get a list of resources relevant to those things that we recommend for those kinds of things.
And I also believe, built into the nature of how we deliver our programming, these subject matter experts that are coming in to talk about that topic, they may only have an hour, so they cannot share the wealth of wisdom that they actually contain. But they're taught to share the most impactful information at that moment, so much that the participants can leave and take it back to work and can perform it on their own, but also to make them realize that that person that I just heard from today would be one of those great resources, and contacts are given and conversations are begun right then and there from that moment. None of the people presenting are there to pitch or sell, but it's clear that they are an expert and can be reached out to, so in-house as well.
I think we need to keep it real for them too, for everybody, is that there are certain professions that are legally bound to certain requirements when they're working with a client. And so an attorney or a CPA, an accountant, just like medical practitioners, there's a line in the sand that they can't give any more free stuff without actually representing you, and that there's a cost involved in that. So like the other organizations, we have wonderful volunteers that give as much information, and sometimes more than I think is practical, to help them. But I always let them know that it is up to that practitioner, that expert, to draw that line in the sand and tell you when they can't give you the kind of information or services you're asking for without actually having them in retainer. And I think a lot of entrepreneurs don't understand that going in. They think that just the attorney's just gonna write their contracts for them and they'll be happy with that. And it just doesn't work that way. So being real with the entrepreneurs is really important because there are limits.
And we do have other, we work with student resources as well, right? So there's a lot of student programs at USF where you can get help with marketing and things like that, other universities and things like that. So we try to find as many low cost options as possible. But we used to have, when we first did the program, we would have people who wanted to mentor who were pitching their services. We don't want to do that to people. And we stopped that right away. That's not the idea. The idea is to know what you need, and then they can always come back to us too. Like, they can be gone from the program for 2 or 3 years and say, hey, I'm looking for, do you have a recommendation for? We typically will, from one of somebody who does.
And to give a shout out, we also make sure we reference the resources like the programming that happens here at the ECC or the greenhouse, et cetera, and what happens, like what's going on as a great resource right now, legal services in this room right here after this, go speak to them.
This is actually our first reference for people. It's like, come here, ask them, right?
We have the SBDC. We
Yep.
got a lot of entities over here that are designed to do that to
Yeah, we
make
always
it, so.
send people this. This is why we actually have, one of our sessions is actually county and other resources. That is one of our sessions where Lynn said, she'll either be in person or one of you, and you'll send us a video. We do that, they listen to the Chambers of Commerce, right? So we have all these different guests who come in, tell them about all the resources that are available, and it's actually a whole class.
And as an example, if you will, just
Yeah.
explain what you're here to do.
Yeah, I'm
today.
Susan Sandler. I'm with Bay Area Legal Services, and we do offer free services.
We just referred somebody to you.
Yeah, but you do have to qualify. So we're looking for the same people that you're looking for, the low-income community, to provide actual free legal services. But we provide advice, and I think one of the most important things about a business is knowing what you're getting into, and then knowing what questions you need to answer to be successful. So we will share with you the legal issues you need to know the answers to. We may not give you the answers. We, like you said, we'll give you some information. But if you are low income, we will actually answer those questions for you for free, and it is really free. So we meet here once a month. You can make an appointment, and it's not an income eligible. And we'll share. We refer people back to you. We love SCORE because they're also a great resource to help you answer the questions and know what questions to ask. So.
We're a very collaborative community in Tampa as far as all of us resource organizations, so that is one thing we usually have a place to go.
And I'll say too, that one of the first things we do when we talk to our, we require a corporation of some kind to complete the program. And we actually had to start a couple of years ago telling people in advance, when you incorporate, do not answer all the emails that are going to come charging you to do things that don't cost. Right? Because as soon as they incorporate, they start getting flooded with the stuff. So now that's become a whole education component.
Yeah, I'm Peter Baca, author of The Inside Entrepreneur, a middle manager side entrepreneurship. And I want to thank all three of you for being here this morning and the great work that you're doing. I'm really inspired by what you've been able to accomplish. But my question is this. Is there a program out there, or perhaps do you offer services for those individuals who are currently working under the corporate cloak as entrepreneurs and who share many of the same frustrations, but many other challenges like how to handle office politics? I mean, it's a challenge in and of itself, very different from let's say, starting a lawn service or house cleaning service. Can you answer that?
Well, Terry mentioned it earlier that it's a success if somebody goes through an entrepreneurship program and discovers that 40-hour-a-week job looks so much more appealing after they think about the 80 hours they're gonna slave to the entrepreneur for a few years. I don't have, and I'm not even aware, but that's a really good need of ones that do. But what I have found is that people that come through entrepreneurship programs and discover that life balance of being an entrepreneur versus an employee is not one that they're willing to risk. They become much better entrepreneurs, to your statement, because now they understand how that business works and their place in it, and so they become it's less about, they're less affected by politics and office politics and the grind that we're all familiar with in corporate America. Because not only do they know the alternative, but now they understand the reason why, which I advocate. If you're a middle manager or you're in a corporate setting, take an entrepreneurship program, not a class in a college because you get theory, but take one and play with an idea, because you will get so much insight into your own job and how you can be a better employee, a more valued employee, and that you then value your boss much better too.
I would love to have you come and do that program at Yambaka. So if you would like to do that, you are welcome to.
I would be happy to.
We welcome different groups to come in. We do that a lot. So with some of the entrepreneurs that come to our program, doing programs with us later on. But we would love to have that talk to you.
And if I could put a capstone on that question is JMI does not, and we consider new programs reaching new people all the time, but just like we teach our entrepreneurs, we need to become the best at what we do and niche down ourselves. Because another area of great need is what I call the sophomore year. People have a lot of resources to start their business, ideate, and continue on, and then they can't get to us until 3 years in. But there's so many new things, their first hires, their management of those first employees, how do I advance my books now that's beyond my reach, those sophomore year questions. We need more resources out there geared towards them.
Yeah, we've been kicking around an incubation or accelerator readiness program to sort of cover that.
Well, you and I are going to be talking about that.
Yeah, exactly.
And then last question is that.
Hi, my name is Chimawala, and I've been part of this community for a while. I just did some stint working for the government. Your question is actually very important. Has anybody heard about the fork in the road email? Elon Musk tried to basically right-size the government. Well, you're gonna have a lot of people coming out from the government that are gonna need services on how to maybe become entrepreneurs. So I'm looking to get some experts to enable them make that next step. So just for your organizations, don't be surprised if you see a lot of people coming to knock on your door. I'm actually looking to put together a resource guide for those folks that are going to be losing their jobs. So if you want to reach out to me at some point, we'll have a conversation. What are your thoughts, and how would you be able to integrate those people that were laid off into your organizations?
If I can speak, I'm gonna take off my JMI hat, but I'm actually starting a new business, and it really is geared towards that 40, 50-year-old that has been working their job to play it safe. And to your point, some of them are gonna be kind of forced to think about taking that leap at some point. And it's all about giving that support to that person that never had that lemonade stand, but is ready now, right? So late in life. And it goes to my theory again, my philosophy of walking with you and providing a sense of community for that people, no matter where they are.
To that, I don't think we do anything different. We're already working with that population, people who've been laid off, people who are older. A lot of our demographic, we have a wide range. The majority of people coming through our program have either been working for years and they just don't want to do that anymore. They want to take their side hustle, or they're retired. They just want to have a small business on the side. So there's a lot of different things. I don't think that would make it any different. They might be facing some other kind of traumas that I can't handle, but I think that it wouldn't be a whole lot different from what we're doing. But maybe there's opportunities there for reskilling or something like that, entrepreneurial reskilling. So I think there's I don't think it'd be a whole lot different than what we're doing.
Thank you.
My population with veterans and military spouses, they've been working for the government for 30 years, right? They already understand, in a very stringent, resource restricted, I don't care what you think politically, resource restricted when they're out on the field trying to solve a mission. And so they've already got the entrepreneurial skills. We just help them redirect it and recognize that. So yeah, I don't see anything really stupid